Hi everyone, nice to be back. Today we're going to have a look at some timed breathing exercises. I've been reading some research about how slowing our breathing down can help with our general well-being, our general health. So we're going to look at our breathing rate over the space of a minute. So that's going to be interesting. I've got my timer ready, so if you see me looking over there, that's because I'm checking the time. And then for the second part, we're going to do a self-compassion meditation, and part of that will be compassion for others. I think we're getting to a stage of the coronavirus outbreak where a lot of us have been at home for a long time now. We might be with family or without family, but we're being forced to live in a different way to normal. You know, we had before we had jobs to go to, or our partners had jobs, and our children went to school, and now we're all living together. So we're going to sort of examine a relationship and work through that. And then that's going to be quite short because we're going to be looking at perhaps emotions that can be quite difficult. So we're going to keep that quite short, quite intense, and then the last bit we're going to have a little brief look at mantras, because I think we'll do a session on that next time. So we're going to look at what a mantra is, what the purpose of a mantra is, and then there's a little bit of homework if you want to do it. And don't worry if not. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is do some timed breathing. So if I've been reading some research which I'll put on the group afterwards about how just by slowing our breathing rate down, we can kind of tell our nervous system that everything's okay, that we can dial down the stress response. And in some of the papers they were talking about 4 breaths a minute, and but the majority were kind of 5 or 6 breaths a minute, and that doesn't sound like very much at all. And I thought, wow, I'm not sure I'd be able to do 5 breaths a minute. But actually, when I came to do it, it was easier than I thought. So we'll give that a go in just a minute. Just a little health note: if you've got any asthma, any respiratory things you think you might find that difficult, you know your body best, so just take it in your own pace. Okay, so we'll start with 3 deep diaphragm breaths, just to bring us into the bring us into this space for relaxation. So make sure you're pulling that breath down through your chest down to your diaphragm. We'll do 3 of those. And so breathe in and out and in and out. And the last one for this round: in and out. Okay, what we're going to try now is we're going to try and do 6 breaths in the space of a minute. So that means the inhale and the exhale will be about 10 seconds all told. So if it helps, you might want to shut your eyes so you can concentrate a bit more. I'm going to put my timer on over here so I can check the time. And if you just follow my breath, if it feels uncomfortable, just stop and breathe in your own time. But we'll try for 6 breaths in the minute. Okay, ready? Okay, so we're going in and out. That's 1, and in and out. And that's 2, and that's 3, and in, and out, and that's 4, and in, and out, that's 5, and in, and out, and that's 6. So you did 6 breaths in the space of a minute. Doesn't sound like very much, but I certainly felt I could go a little bit slower, so we'll try one more round and we'll aim for 5 breaths in this minute, so that's about 1 every 12 seconds. So like I say, if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, just breathe at your normal pace. And we'll try again. So we'll do, and if you want to practice this at home, actually having the timer and watching the seconds, it actually engages your mind in something a bit different. So that is quite a nice thing to do, just as a relaxation technique as well. Okay, so we'll try for the 5 breaths this time. And ready, and in, and out. That's 1, and in, and out, and that's 2, and in, and out, that's 3, and in, and out, that's 4, and in, and out, and that's 5. So well done if you managed it. I think being kind of a little bit strict with ourselves and making ourselves slow that breathing down is really, really useful to help us relax. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is it's a self-compassion and a shared compassion meditation. As I said earlier, we're all living together in a new, different situation to what we have been. So what we're going to do is focus on a relationship or a person that, you know, we love, but is sometimes can cause us a little bit of conflict or fatigue. It might not even be somebody in your household. It might be somebody, a family member who you can't see, but who you're worried about, or you think might not be following the guidelines how you would like them, that kind of thing. I know that seems to be a common thing that comes up with some of my friends. So we are focusing on that relationship, and we're going to share the compassion with ourselves and with the person. And it might not even be anything major. It might be just somebody keeps leaving the lid off the toothpaste. It doesn't have to be a big conflict, but it could be something that is just kind of getting to you a little bit. Okay, so to bring ourselves into the space, we're going to put our feet flat on the floor, hands on our knees. You can lie down if you want. Because we're doing some visualization in this, it might be best if you close your eyes, and then we'll bring ourselves into the space, and we're going to do our 3 deep breaths with our eyes shut. You're going to breathe in and out, and that's 1, and in, and out, and that's 2, and in, and out, and that's 3. Okay, I want you to visualize a relationship, a person. You might be caring for them, and you might be finding that relationship difficult. And I want you to imagine that relationship We're going to breathe in, nice deep breath in, and we're going to acknowledge those challenges that come up when we imagine this relationship. And you can let those feelings arise, and we're going to notice them. It might be frustration, it might be sadness, and we're just going to allow those feelings to rise up in our mind, and let's notice them. We're going to acknowledge them. And as those feelings are arising, I'm going to read some statements to you, and I want you to let those words settle with this relationship, with this person that you're thinking about. Okay. The first statement is that everyone is on their own path. Everyone is on their own path. And take a deep breath in, just let those words filter in. And the second statement is that sometimes things are difficult. Sometimes things can be difficult. Take a deep breath in and acknowledge that. Okay, the third statement is that I cannot control the behaviour of others. I'm going to breathe in. I cannot control the behaviour of others. And the fourth statement is I can control my own reactions. I can control my own reactions. We're going to really focus on that inhale now, that breathing in. As we breathe in, I want you to breathe in what you need to deal with this relationship. You're going to breathe in compassion for yourself. You're going to breathe in the acknowledgement that nobody's perfect. And we're also going to breathe in things like the ability to have patience and peace with ourselves and allow ourselves the space to feel what we need to. And just know that you're allowed to give yourself what you need. You're allowed to feel those things, but you're also allowed to give yourself some compassion and peace. And you can be as patient with yourself as you are with the other person. All those things that you are to other people, you can be for yourself. You're going to breathe in all that compassion and patience for yourself. Okay, we're coming to the end now, and I want you to recall that image of that relationship, of that person, and you're breathing in that patience and compassion for yourself. And as you breathe out, you're sharing that compassion with the other person. So you've got the resources to share that. So you're going to breathe in for yourself and out for the other person. It might be you want to breathe in a few more times for yourself to give yourself what you need, and then you can focus on the other person. So you're breathing in that compassion. As you breathe out, you're breathing it out for them. We're going to end now with 3 deep breaths. As we do our 3 deep breaths, you're breathing in what you need, that compassion, that resilience, and you're breathing it out for the other person. So we've got our last 3 deep breaths now. Breathe in and out. That's 1, and in and out. That's 2, and in and out, and that's 3. Okay, just allow yourselves a couple of seconds just to open your eyes, to come back. And so that's quite a short meditation because we're dealing with things that aren't necessarily that comfortable. I know with my toddler sometimes we have a little bit of conflict, and I find the deep breathing quite helpful if we're having a disagreement. And it's the acknowledgement that you will feel things that are difficult, and nobody's perfect, and we're just giving ourselves a little bit of a break and giving ourselves that time and that acknowledgement that we're okay, we're doing a good job, and we're allowed to give ourselves that nourishment that we need. Okay, so I'm just going to talk really briefly about mantras, and some of you will know what mantras are, some of you might not have heard of them, some of you might know the word. So mantras are used in meditation to focus the mind and the breathing, and some people say them in their mind and some people say them out loud. And to me there's 2 strands to a mantra. There's the words. So in traditional Buddhist meditation, the words would be in Sanskrit, so we wouldn't necessarily, unless we're fluent in that language, we wouldn't understand what the words are. But some people do use that, and some people use words that are in their own language. So part of it is the words, and they can be quite affirming words, and sometimes they're just words that bring us back to the present. So it could be that I think earlier in the series we did a meditation where we use words like may I have peace, may I have love. I've got a friend who uses the mantra I am enough, which I really like as well, because it's, everything you've got is there. So I'm going to put another link on the group, just to some ideas of different mantras to use. So there's that strand where there's the words and the positivity of those words, and then there's also the sound. So if you've ever been to a yoga class, sometimes they use the Om sound, and for most of us, I don't really know what that means, but the making of the sound actually feels nice and it feels relaxing, and that must be partly to do with the breathing. Before my initial training was as a musician. That's what I did my degree, and I was worked in composition. So I'm really interested in the sound that things make. So what I was thinking for next week was that we might do some sound making, and I'm not necessarily talking about kind of a sound bath or anything like that. There are some lovely sound baths available on YouTube and things like that. I'm not necessarily talking about that, but I'm talking about using sound within ourselves to feel, to regulate our breathing and to feel kind of the vibration of that in a therapeutic way. So that might not be everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally okay, but I thought next week we'd have a look at sound making, and you get to hear me make some sounds which might make you switch off, but we spend a lot of time kind of up here talking in our heads, and it might be quite nice just to let a little bit of sound out as well in a relaxing way. So let me know what you think, and I'll put some links on the group in a minute. So in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, look after each other, and thank you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.